the Madman!
Welcome to the top custom cards of the week. We start off today with Ooze Cat, because it's cute! Hunter, 2 mana 2/2 beast. Battle Cry, destroy your opponent's weapon to adapt. And perhaps one of the reasons I decided to put this in front is because, due to recent comments, I've decided to turn over a new leaf. If the keyword really makes sense, I'm allowing it! No longer will you be oppressed by my system where I dock you design points for old mechanics if it's utilized well. However, this is not the case here, by the way. Design 2 stars, balance 4 stars. I'm not putting design 2 stars because it has the keyword adapt. So I understand that oozes eat weapons, but why doesn't ooze adapt if it eats a weapon? Now, before you point over at all those, Un'Goro adaptations and why that made sense, remember that Un'Goro was a special primordial world with magical energies, and it caused all the creatures there to mutate in different ways, and you can actually justify almost every single one of their adapts. In this case, if you eat a weapon, I can understand gaining that weapon's perhaps special unique magical properties, but for the most part, weapons just have attack, and perhaps, once you've eaten it, you might have a weapon pointing out of your ooze or something, and then you gain attack. So that's the only adaptation that I can think of that makes sense. So there's 3 problems with this card. The first one was the lack of adapt making sense. The second problem is it's a really specific hate card in one specific class, and the direction of hate is so specific that I don't think it's fair to waste a class's limited amount of cards to put in a specific counter card there. Problem number 3 is that once we establish that this should probably be neutral, I don't think it makes sense to actually have this card. There's not enough design space for both Ooze Cat and Ooze. If you want to run a card that destroys your opponent's weapon, just run Ooze. This is part of the problem with having a core set, by the way. Now, there have been other cards printed over the years, which have been different types of Oozes, but a 2 mana card that's, very similarly stat to Ooze, which just basically is used to destroy your opponent's weapon, it doesn't make sense. If I were to change the card, I would probably make it Battle Cry, destroy your opponent's weapon. If you successfully destroy your opponent's weapon, or something along those lines of wording, gain 2 attack or gain 3 attack or something, then that's a even more variable ooze, even more reward if you actually kill an opponent's weapon, less of a reward if you just play it as a 2 mana 2/2, and that's probably not great as a hate card as well. It should probably have some amount of base viability. Next, we've got Antonitus the Tutor, 4 mana mage legendary, 3/6. You can only draw spells. Design 3 stars, balance 5 stars. Let me address balance 5 stars for a moment. It's a 4 mana 3/6, and that's a fine stat line. But this text might have some value to it. But the problem with the design of this card is I think this text actually has almost no value to it. I looked at it and I was like, is this actually useful? Pokelt's useful because there's definitely a reason to draw the big cards in your deck, and that effect lasts after its death. For Antonitus, putting down 4 mana and then only being able to draw spells, you'd have to play in a very specific combo to play him and then play some card draw to draw a spell. Is the spell really that critical? Are you playing it in a deck that has a very few amount of spells so that you can tutor for the spell? Are you playing in a deck that has plenty of spells? This card can be played to not draw cards if you have no spells in your deck. That's good against fatigue. That's bad when you don't have spells in your deck and you still have cards you want to draw. It doesn't fit anywhere. I couldn't really think of a way to make this ability that useful. There is probably a way to adjust it strongly in order to make it useful. For example, Battle Cry, your next 2 draws are guaranteed to be spells or something. Then it would be a little bit of Pokeltish in that you always draw the thing that you want even after death. You could even make it Pull Celtish. Battlecry, put all the spells on the top of your deck. I think that might make for a pretty interesting combination. Elon, Master Metallurgist. 3 mana warrior legendary, 1/6. Your weapons cost armor instead of mana. Design 3 stars, balance 5 stars. This is almost the exact reasoning as the last card. The stat line's fine. It's actually kind of unique for a 3 mana card, and I kind of like that. But the card text, is it actually ever practically useful? Now, paying health instead of mana tends to be an extremely good deal. The problem here is that your health has to specifically be armor, otherwise you can't pay for it. So you need 3 situations to be right. 1, you need to actually have armor already, or have enough mana to both play Elon and gain armor. 2, you need to have that big weapon in your hand so that you can play it for the armor instead of the mana. You could place Elon first and then turn after, play something like Shield Block and then curve into Arcanite Reaper, something like that. But it's a pretty specific type of deck that you want to play both big weapons and gain armor. Basically, maybe too narrow of an effect to ever be useful. Next up, we have Plaguelord Vesh, dual class warrior shaman card. 7 mana 3/10 legendary with taunt. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a random Murloc. And this card I'm actually going to give the same rating as the previous 2 cards. I lumped these all next to each other to drive home an important point. Design 3 stars, balance 5 stars. This is Bone Chewer Vanguard, but better. But is that important enough? Will this card actually have any impact on the game? It's simply a big taunt card where you can get a few Murlocs off of it, perhaps. Comparing this card with Bone Chewer Vanguard, whenever Bone Chewer Vanguard gets damaged, it just gets +2 attacks, that's +2 stats. A random Murloc will probably get you, about 2 or 3 attack as well, the same as the Vanguard, but it'll also gain you a bit of health. The problem is, if you're running a big taunt like this, you're probably a control deck, and you're probably not really looking to destroy your opponent's health total. The stuff that you're getting from Vesh to fill up your board is not necessarily useful. I mean, it's nice, but not necessarily useful. So is this actually useful? Will this actually see any play? And probably not. It's noteworthy that this card is actually a shaman card, specifically in an adventure. It was a Plaguelord, where the flavor is matched pretty well. Whenever you did damage to this Plaguelord, it shed off some Murlocs because it was made of Murlocs. The warrior part, I can see that it's whenever this minion takes damage, but I don't think that's strong enough of a draw to make it warrior. It should probably be shaman, and that's how another random useless shaman legendary is born. So while all 3 of these cards are balanced, the problem is just being balanced doesn't really make it interesting or good for Hearthstone. I sometimes find myself saying, or seeing in the chat say, it's fine to a card, but you know what? We can be better than that. These 3 cards would never see any play in the Hearthstone meta because their effects aren't useful at all. If they were played, it would just be because of their base stats, and making a card mainly reliant on its base stats and having an ability that's like kind of fringe isn't really that interesting, especially for legendaries. And I'm gonna say this, Hearthstone's actually moved in a direction where base stats are quite a bit less of the focus, and interesting abilities are the go-to for a legendary, and I appreciate that a lot. Zapper 4000, a druid 2 mana 2/2 mech. Before this attacks a minion, summon a 1/1 to attack it. Design 2 stars, balance 3 stars. This is actually a very unfortunate design rating. Imagine that the top of the head, by the way, is shooting the bee. The idea is cool. You're attacking something, and before you hit it, the bee attacks first, effectively making this a 3/2 when you're on the attack. But there's a problem with the card, and that goes to a kind of fringe, not very known thing about Hearthstone, about cancelled attacks. When a minion's attack is cancelled in Hearthstone, or when anything's attack is cancelled, you're able to attack again with it. So currently, if the opponent just has a board full of 1 health minions, it is possible for Zapper to just attack them all, and then also attack face, in theory. Now, that's not actually necessarily a problem with the balance. I would find that to be okay. It's just too bizarre. And I think that this can't work, unfortunately. This kind of idea of a attack going off before the minion actually attacks. I think that an idea to print something like this probably has come up before in Blizzard, but cards are generally printed to avoid this. That's too weird. Card's currently weak, by the way, because it's a 3/2 when it attacks, and then otherwise it's a 2/2. Contract Killer. It's a rogue 3 mana 4/2 with stealth. Battle Cry. Choose an enemy minion secretly. If this kills it, add a coin to your hand. Design 5 stars. Balance 4 stars. I really like the idea of the card. I'm actually a pretty big fan of the secretly do something mechanic. You know, that's strictly better Jungle Panther, but it's actually still too weak. I think that we can make this card a 4/3. You're rewarded, after all, for trading with the Contract Killer, and the purpose of a high attack stealth minion tends to be to hit face. It's like guaranteed face damage. So you're going against your own interests here. Now, obviously they don't know what you targeted with the Contract Killer, and it's a secret, but I think often it's going to be pretty obvious enough. So it's an example where the ability doesn't do that much, but because this isn't a legendary, you can just make good stats, like a 3 mana 4/3 stealth, sure, with a nice benefit. Next, it's female. Whoa. Next, it's Fel Mage Khadgar. 2 mana 3/2 Demon Hunter Mage dual class card. Spell damage can improve your hero power. There is actually some amount of lore behind this, and he gets tempted by a disguised Dreadlord.
Open it. Absorb its energies as your own.
No, I cannot. I should not.
The fate of Azeroth rests in your hands, Khadgar.
Your will is strong. My brethren were right. You would have served the Legion well. I will never be the Legion's pawn. And this tower will not be its den!
This is like the alternate world, perhaps, where Khadgar actually becomes a demon. Now, unfortunately, while the art fits the flavor very well of being a Demon Hunter Mage card, the mechanics do not work. Which is why the design's 3 stars. It doesn't make sense that Demon Hunters interact with spell damage in any way. There's a problem with just designing cards off of the art. Sure, the card is literally a Demon Mage, but it's distinctly not a Demon Hunter trait. This card is just that old 2 mana 3/2, which comes with your hero power deals 1 more damage. That card's just better than this. So there's like no use for this legendary. Yes, at some fringe times, if you have like Fel Mage Khadgar plus Malagos, your hero power can do 6 damage, woohoo, but you know, you should just cast a 1 mana spell instead. Imagine making a legendary that's just worse than Fallen Hero. Hungry Student. 4 mana 2/5 Murloc, Battlecry, eat a random spell in your hand. Death Rattle, cast it with random targets. Design 5 stars, balance 1 star. I think this is the rare case of a card being very interesting design-wise, but when it makes it to the final balance team, they'd be like, what the heck? This is ridiculously overpowered. This card shares traits with 2 particular cards. First is Necrim Apothecary, second is Dragon Caster. Necrim Apothecary and Dragon Caster, incidentally, were both cards so powerful that they had to get nerfed. This card's a bit of both. It lets you cast the spell for free as a Death Rattle after you eat it from your hand, so it's more like Dragon Caster, in that the spell is cast for 0 mana. But it's delayed, at least. And it's on a 5 health minion, which sometimes means it's delayed even further because you might not be able to kill off your Hungry Student the turn immediately after. But the problem is, turn 4 neutral, being able to like just eat your 10 mana spell, like we're talking Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, you could eat a Grand Slam in there. It is random spell, by the way, so you have to finagle it a little bit, but I think you can rig it. It's very dangerous to be able to ramp to such a big extent, a 4 mana card that can ramp into a 10 mana spell. So the solution, it's actually pretty simple. Maybe if this cost 6, then it would be kind of comparable to the currently 7 cost Dragoncaster. The flavor is really good. It's someone eating their homework and then like just having the spell come out in really strange ways. Love the flavor, very fitting of Skullomance. And the card right before we get to the trump card of the week, the runner-up, I'm not going to call it a trump card of the week, but I really like the card. Suppress Payne, a dual-class warrior paladin card. 2 mana, give a friendly minion +2/+2. It can't be reduced below 1 health on your turn. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Nice, simple, elegant card, which actually correctly is, warrior paladin is the class combination, but it does correctly pull from both warrior and paladin, which is really important that the dual class cards actually fit both classes. From the warrior getting can't be reduced below 1 health, from the paladin you're getting a straightforward +2/+2 buff. Comparable to Hand of a Doll, instead of drawing a card, you are making the minion not reduced by 1 health on your turn. A nice bonus. Given that a priest talent is called Suppress Payne, or rather Payne Suppression, perhaps the card could be changed and named to something like Overcome instead. Very fitting. Could easily see this card as having been one of the cards. So that was a great card that easily could fit into a Hearthstone expansion. But this next card takes it up a step, I think. The trump card of the week, Deep Sea Turtle. 2 mana, 1/3 taunt, death rattle, freeze a random enemy minion. This is an example, I think, of a card that isn't flashy, doesn't try to be, but just tries to be solid and has good flavor and is great because of it. On death, it freezes a random enemy minion. It's got taunt, so you have to get through it. And it's a turtle. It has a lot of health because of it. Yeah, it just makes too much sense. Bonus points for being cute, I guess? It's a cool defensive tool for control decks. It's actually a little bit similar to Card Toot. This card can gain you the health by freezing a random enemy minion. Perhaps it'll be the one that just killed the turtle, in which case it can't attack the next turn. Perhaps it'll freeze another minion that was going to attack, but now instead won't. I think it's a little bit on the weak side, so I'm suggesting that it get buffed to a 2 mana 1/4. That would be more turtle-like, tough shell, and just be a pretty good defensive tool. Hoping to see more cool cards like this turtle in the next custom Hearthstone cards.